NBA and NHL props. We're also going to talk about a little MLB props and UFC. Welcome to Prop It Up. I'm Andy from WagerTalk.com, being joined, as always, by Andrew McGinnis, my fellow prop master. Andrew, let's get into the Knicks and the Pacers. It's kind of hard to decide what to do with the Knicks because who's going to be out there? Who's going to be playing? I've got some strong opinions on some Pacers props that we can get into right now. And I'll start us off like real quick with a really under the radar guy because these are the guys that have been doing the damage for the Pacers. I'm going to go to Isaiah Jackson over 4.5 points. You can get this at almost even money. This is a guy that comes in off the bench, plays. I'm guessing he's going to get around the 15-minute mark, but it's 4.5 points. This guy's had 8 points and 5 points against the Knicks, and he kind of gets there just by sheer chance that he's always under the basket and can grab a rebound. And 4.5 points is such a low total. It's just a couple of putbacks of made free throw. And with the struggles of the Pacers on rebounding, this is a guy that's going to get in there and going to bang. And we just need a couple of baskets. And that's exactly what he did in the last game. He had 2 baskets, a made free throw, bang, got over this 4.5 points. So I've been loving taking these players with very, very low points totals, very low points, rebounds, and assist totals, especially on teams like the Pacers that use their bench quite a bit. There's a lot of value on these guys coming in. So Isaiah Jackson, 4.5 points. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be interested in him. What are some props you like in this game?
Andy, it's looking like Halliburton is probable at this point. It went from questionable to probable, and doesn't look like he will miss time, but sore back, and that's kind of bothering him. And right now with this team, I think that depth is what's going to win them the game anyway tonight if they do come back in this series. And I think that for him, his number currently set at 19.5. Seen him go under this in 8 of his last 10 games. If he is out there, if he's sore, we see it all the time, even in the NFL. Sometimes you're a decoy. Sometimes you're out there to, make space, to create space, to maybe be more of a passer than you're used to. And of course, he is a 3-point shooter, so you don't have to attack the rim in order to do that. But looking under 19.5, always nice to go under with these players that are usually pegged to go over, and these top tier guys are looking towards. Looking at Nebhard over points and assists over 14.5. I wouldn't necessarily say he's like an under the radar guy, but he's certainly not really a superstar that everyone's talking about. And I just love that number of both points and assists you're getting. He's been a huge impact defensively, picking up at half court, but points in transition, that's where he's getting a lot of his points off turnovers. And again, he creates space when there's doubles. They kick it out to him, and he makes his plays. So the points plus assist battle is really good for that one. And then there's 2 other ones, but I'll premise it with this. These are kind of, depending on your range, depending if you are comfortable with these prices or if you want to make a same gamer, up to you for what anybody would like to do. But there's 2 that I have here. One is Miles Turner under 1.5 turnovers. That one's minus 185, Andy. But if you go down the list, it kind of reminds me of NHL bets because it's pretty much just steadily 1. Like, it's just 1 every time. And the funny thing is he actually had 2 in the last game, and I don't think it happens back-to-back times. So I am going to be betting that. And the next one is Conley over 2.5 rebounds. I said to you like a month ago on our Prop It Up show that you look towards the big men sometimes for assists, which is what smaller guys are usually known for. And you look towards kind of the smaller guys for rebounds, because of the number adjustments, right? Not a lot of people are lining up to the window tonight to bet Conley over on his rebounds. But again, Andy, this price is minus 160. It's hit in 9 of his last 10 games. So, something that you mentioned to me before is that it's sometimes you don't really want to get off a pick until the number is different. So until I see this go to 3.5, it might be minus 160, but I've made money on this already throughout the playoffs that it's worth it enough for me to keep going to it.
I don't know about a lot of people lining up to the window to bet it, but I have already lined up at said window and have already bet this. This is down in my notes here. I'll give you one more for the Pacers game before we move on that one. Obi Toppin has just been fantastic against the Knicks. Kind of funny that we got him from the Knicks, and he's just flourishing. He's had 21 and 24 points, rebounds, and assists in the games against the Knicks, and his number is still at 16 and a half. It feels pretty low. Now, he is shooting a high percentage, and I don't know if that's going to continue, but he's shooting the three well. He's not taking bad shots. That's been a problem of his, but he's taking good shots. They really don't have a whole lot of answers for him physically now that Anunoby's out. Like, he's fast when they get out and run. He's athletic. He's got good vertical, so he can get inside and create some real problems for the Knicks, especially this Knicks team that's, banged up and playing with, they're down to 6.5 guys at this point. So his three-point shots have been pretty good. Rebounds are a little bit up and down, but he's just been really, really good off the bench when they bring him in. It's just a burst of energy. When they come in with that McConnell, Shepard, Obi Toppin lineup, it's just a real jolt of speed and athleticism. And Obi Toppin's been really, really good. I mean, he's not only gone over a little bit, gone over a lot. So 21 and 24. And that makes, 6 out of 7 playoff games that he's gone over this one. So, yeah, the theme here for me, Andrew, is these bench guys for the Pacers. They're just flourishing when they come in. So, I wonder if we actually see a little bit more minutes at home. And I think this is a really good Pacers game. The spread is telling you everything you need to know. That if there's a game the Knicks are going to punt on and say, let's just try and rest some guys, if that's possible, this might be it. So it's a good day to get on the Pacer players. I just throw a couple other things about Mike Conley because I'm with you. Over in every single playoff game, over in every game against Denver this season, he's played him 6 times, over every single time against Denver. And with this number at 2.5, he's averaging 6 rebound chances per game. A lot of that has to do with the defense and just that the Denver Nuggets are getting bad shots. And so there's more rebounding opportunities. So I love that you brought up the Conley one because those are, Andrew, those are the plays where we make our money in the prop market. It's not taking over on the big name guys. It's the Mike Conley over 2.5, rebounds. It's finding Ben Shepherd over half of made 3, just some of those weird ones. Another one in this game, it actually came off the books this morning, so it's not up there yet. Or it's not up there still. I would keep your eye open. Christian Braun under 10.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Game 1, he played 19 minutes. He only had 7 points, 2 rebounds. Game 2, 11 minutes, 2 points, 2 rebounds. And Andrew, he looked like a deer in headlights in game 2.
Yeah.
It was like, talk about the moment being a little bit too big. It was like, they can play defense like this. This isn't fair. I can't cut to the basket wide open. Another guy who's, well, we can talk about him a little bit. Josh Giddey and Christian Braun kind of have the same look where it's like not very effective. And I'm not sure these teams are going to be playing them a whole lot more. So if Christian Braun under 10.5 points, rebounds, and assists comes out before the game, absolutely got to take it. I'm not sure he plays very many minutes tonight. So you like anything else in this Minnesota-Denver?
I just think, we talked about sometimes finding the under the radar guys, Andy, but I think that Karl Anthony Towns is just a really, really good matchup here for the Minnesota this team. I think that the T-Wolves are going to be able to expose the Nuggets because of the high-low game they're playing. He is so good at teasing teams right in around in the elbow. He makes teams wonder, is he going to post up? Is he playing up high? Then they kind of run those hedge screens like really high up. And the best part about a player like Towns is that if you give him space, he can knock it down. If you play tight, he'll roll, take the mismatch, and bully you in the paint. He's a guy that, you take a look at the series the Nuggets are coming off of, right? I mean, it was AD, and you know how he is. If he gets beat, he's not really coming back. And then it was Rui Hachimura. I mean, who else was it? I mean, that's the problem, is that with the T-Wolves, the matchups are so much different. And I think that right now, with the way they're having to defend the paint with other guys. And, every guy is so long on the T-Wolves. That's why their defense was so good. Long arms, super tall. So I think the best bet is actually points, rebounds over 27.5 for Towns. And I just think that they're really not going to be able to game plan from one game to the next to try and stop him. They're going to try and force the outside shots. They'll probably try and prevent him from crashing and diving in and see if he can continue to shoot the way he does. But I still think he gets his opportunities. And Andy, I don't have a lot of numbers for you with this one. I just really think that Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 3 points made is a really good play tonight. I think he's probably been trending under towards that based on some numbers I have looked at. But one thing I saw watching the last game versus the Wolves versus the Nuggets, when it's not working well for Joker and Jamal, they're in big trouble. They're in big trouble. And so they need Mr. Green Light to just get a couple shots to make the defense keep guessing a little bit. If it's only a 2-man game, this is not a good. That's not going to lead to success for the Nuggets. I mean, I think I know you've cashed on a lot of those 3-point made, and I know you said a lot of the 1.5s you were looking at, Andy. But I just really think if no depth pieces can show up for this Nuggets team, they're in trouble. I could see Jamal dropping 25, Joker drops 35, and they lose this game if they don't get some supporting cast help.
Yeah, what's crazy about the series, Andrew, is like whenever they play the first 2 games of a series and a team is like down 0-2, you always think to yourself, well, at least they're going back home. And like it's messing with my mind on this one. It's like, no, the Nuggets are not going back home. They just lost both games at home, so they're not going to have the crowd behind them. How many times does this happen? Not very often. So, like when you say Michael Porter, I know what you're saying. He can't continue to be this bad, but I don't know, can he? On the road, it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. So, shout out to Ryan in the chat. Wants to know about Alexander Walker. Nikhil Alexander Walker was great last game, but he was terrible the game before. And like everything, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. But I don't think I would trust his consistency. The guy made 4 3-pointers last game, but the game before he made 1. I'm not really sure what category I would feel 100% confident with him in. I thought his defense was fantastic in the last game, and that's kind of where like his value was. If I was going to take anything, it would be the rebounds and assists. He had 7 in the last game. He had 0 in game 1, which is strange. But then before that against Phoenix, 7, 7, 7, and 6. So maybe the game 1 was just a complete outlier. But if you're looking for something on Alexander Walker, it's the rebounds and assists. This is kind of amazing. We're talking about this Minnesota team grabbing rebounds, mostly because the Denver Nuggets are just so struggling on offense right now. So they're not exactly coming lights out. So I'd lean rebounds and assists there, Ryan. Thank you for the question. Guys, if you're enjoying the gambling content, please go ahead and hit the like button. Everyone that's watching right now, please hit the like button and leave us a comment. Tell us what props you're looking forward to. We got some really good NBA games tonight and tomorrow. We've got NHL as well. We're going to talk a little bit of MLB, and we'll get you some UFC props as well. So hit the like button, subscribe. That way you get notified on every show that comes up. We've got daily videos where we're breaking down all the different NBA and NHL games, all the MLB games as well. So, again, leave a comment. It really, really helps the algorithm out. Helps us. If you could just take a quick minute, put something in the comment section, it would really help us out. Andrew and I would greatly appreciate it. Andrew, you want to go over a couple things here on Saturday? You got Boston and Cleveland, Oklahoma City and Dallas. I wonder how many people got wrecked on the Boston money line last night. That was the parlay. That was the parlay buster. A lot of props didn't go a lot of people's way. I was happy I let off that one. Let's start with Boston and Cleveland. You like anything in this one? Or are you finding this series pretty tough?
I've been staying away from the Celtics games altogether, Andy. I've just found it difficult. Look at the spreads every game throughout the postseason for them. I've been staying off. Do you have anything for that game?
I think this is a great time to just say, yeah, it's okay to stay away. I have not had any plays. I've had leans in this series, but some of this is just really, I think the numbers are dialed in. If Derek White has a bad game, it feels like the Celtics really struggle. And we said this about the Boston Celtics too. The Celtics are going to give you one horrific game every series. They're going to play one horrific game. You never know when it is, and I think that was it. Wouldn't surprise me if they steamroll Cleveland, but I had a lean on Tatum over his rebounds and assists. He didn't get there last night, so I think we move on. If we don't have a great opinion on a game, no reason to keep talking about it. Oklahoma
Andy,
City.
The funny thing is that bad game they usually have is at home. Most teams that go on the road, they'll drop one game and they'll win 4-1. Yeah, like I saw something. It's like a past few years. If you're fading the Celtics on the money line, you're up 30. If you're betting the Celtics on the money line, you're down 30 units. Like this team is just, most teams just do the gentleman's sweep. You win 4-1, you lose one game on the road. It's like a respect thing. No, this team has to drop one at home. I'm disappointed in myself for not taking at least the spread yesterday.
Well, I think with the Celtics, it's you take them to win by the spread or the other team to win outright. It feels like at least this season, there's really not a whole lot in between. It's just Boston by 25 or the other team wins outright. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm thoroughly enjoying, and I say this with all honesty, I'm enjoying all the Boston content today. Just crying about the Celtics. So I am going through all the Boston podcasts. I'm going to listen to every single one of them today. There's nothing better than a Boston media just having a complete meltdown after one day. So Boston, number one. New York, number two. Philly, close third. Let's talk about Dallas and OKC. I'll start us off here. Josh Giddey, his line is not out yet, but yikes, he is getting rendered useless in this series. I don't know what it is. I don't know why the matchup is that bad, but he looks terrible against Dallas. His points, rebounds, and assist total was at 18.5. He played 11 minutes. He was a minus 27. He had 9 PRA in game 1, 10 in game 2. And here's the other thing. It's one thing if you're not great on offense, but you make up for it on defense, and he just can't do that. He's worthless in those switches on Luka. Worthless. When he's out there, it's just like they'll eat him for lunch. So I'm not sure what value he's going to bring the rest of the series. They brought in Wallace, who looked great at times guarding Luka. Obviously, Luka's going to get some shots off, but Wallace was athletic enough to keep moving with him. And I think we see less Giddey and a little bit more Wallace, because when Giddey's playing terrible on offense, he really has no value in that one. So I would be looking at Giddey unders for the rest of the series if they give us a good one. Any takes on the Mavericks and the Thunder?
Andy, it's easy to have this take I'm about to have after the player had 11 assists in game 2, but nonetheless, I'm going to go over 5.5 for Kyrie Irving on his assists at plus 110. The 5.5 number, the previous game, 11. You look at the minutes he's getting, he's constantly out there. But for me, it's all about the matchups here. And Kyrie is the kind of guy, we all know the handles that he has, the facilitator he can be. Obviously, he knows how to take the ball to the hoop. I don't think Kyrie has a problem if he doesn't score the most points in the game, Andy. I really don't. I don't think Kyrie is worried about being the team leader in scoring. I don't think he needs that highlight play. He is fine with being a facilitator. 11 assists still makes you a really, really important part of the game. And I think there's mismatches on other parts of the court for the Dallas Mavericks. I think they should get the ball down low. I think the battle of the 3 and 4 spot is kind of where they should be taking advantage of. It might not be the spot with a guy like Kyrie to be taking the ball to the hoop himself. And, you look at a guy like Doncic, even his number is so much higher. I'd be curious, Andy, to see if those numbers start to change. If we start to see throughout this series, Kyrie's go up and Doncic, his assist number go down. But overall, I think that's the one I've looked at here. I kind of I kind of been looking a little bit at under on rebounds for Chet Holmgren because I just think that that's going to regress a little bit. I think that the number we're seeing at 8.5 is just based on what we've seen, like his past, 5 to 10 games. But I do think this will change. I trust the big guys for the Dallas Mavericks, and there haven't been a lot of offensive rebounds in this series. You take a look at it. Both teams, you miss a shot, you're pretty much getting back on D. There's not that many second chance opportunities. So looking towards the assist props, and everybody, you like to be a contrarian sometimes. And I find that sometimes you look at these players like Chet, I think they could set it at 10.5. Some guys would still bet the over, just because of who he is, how long he is, that's what he brings. But I think things are different now in the playoffs than they were in the regular season.
Love it. Let's turn our attention to the NHL here. We've got a lot of awesome things going on at WagerTalk, though. I have a 5% best bet that is up. That is in the NBA. We have not had very many 5% NBA plays this season, but we've hit our last couple ones, and we're coming off a really nice couple of nights here. We swept the board last night and the night before in the NBA, so I feel like I have a good read on a couple of these series. That 5% play goes off on Saturday, but I've attached a play for tonight with it. So if you want to grab that 5% play, that play is on the board for tomorrow. We're having a really, really solid year. We are up 57 units so far, and we've got 9 units in futures we're getting ready to cash out here in a couple weeks. So we're going to be inching towards that plus 70 unit mark for 2024. NBA has been great, 14-7 in the playoffs. And we're stepping out with a rare 5% play. You can grab that, Andy Lang at WagerTalk.com. Andrew, what do you have up for this weekend? Loaded weekend of sports.
It's a huge weekend, Andy, and I got a 5% on Saturday in the NHL. But the big special I have right now, I'm excited about it. I know you've been betting this sport as well. CFL's back, and I have a special up right now for the Canadian Football League. If you buy my CFL season package, an early bird price, a very nice price there for it, we will throw in the remainder of the NHL postseason at no additional cost, no added cost. You buy the CFL package for the season, you get the remainder of the NHL. That's future bets, sides, totals, and props. It's a great deal. A handful have joined me already. I hope the rest of you guys will join me as well. I had 3 straight CFL profitable seasons, and I'm currently going back to last season on a 10-2 plus 40 unit 5% run in Canadian football. I always say this. If you don't like the product, you're not going to offend me. Let's just make some money. If you don't want to watch the CFL, you don't have to watch it. Figure out if you want to make money or if you want to just enjoy watching games. Definitely 2 different types of betting, I would say.
We could talk. Let's talk a little CFL at the end. You and I can nerd out at the end of the show about some CFL. But let's get to some NHL plays. Couple of games tonight here. I got to be honest, Andrew. I have not had a great read on the NHL, and that's okay. I haven't played nearly as many plays as I was in the regular season, and I was pretty low volume in the regular season. Anyways, let's talk about Florida and Boston. Props perspective, Pasternak over 3.5 shots on goal is the only one that I've really kind of noticed has been good, and then he goes out and has 0. it more fights than shots on goal, I think, which is a weird one. I don't know. I think I might come back to that one. Pasternak coming off of a 0 shots on goal game. That seems like a pretty nice rebound spot. Any props you liking in the Panthers and the Bruins?
Yeah, see, Andy, that's a great example of forget about a trend, forget about what a guy did last game. He gets in a fight near the end of the game, and now you're going home. It's like what you were saying earlier about the NBA. They got the split, and now they're going home. It's not like they're, leaving Boston. I think it's a great night for David Pasternak. I would agree with you. I've been taking props on Brad Marchand to get a point. Last game, he was minus 130 only. This game, he's minus 150, but he's done really, really well in his career in this matchup against the Florida Panthers, this season against the Florida Panthers, and this postseason in general, because he's not been as much of a shooter and actually turned into more of a playmaker. They've turned his number down a little bit, but he, in his last 19 games, 79% hit rate on this point prop just to get a point, not a goal, not an assist specifically, just to get a point. So I really do like that one. As far as some other ones here, Brandon Montour is a defenseman for the Florida Panthers. He's been jumping into the rush quite a bit, and he's over 1.5 for his shots. You can get a pretty good plus price on that one, depending on where you shop around. But the block shots, I'll tell you, Andy, that's my new market. That's the new untapped one. I feel like I try to bring a new one every week here to us. Block shots for Brandon Tanev from the Dallas Stars. You've got Montour from the Florida Panthers. You've got a couple different guys from every single team that are going to be blocking shots for you. And there was McNabb from the Vegas Golden Knights. It's so funny. It's almost like he should have been listed as their second goaltender. The guy had 5 or 6 block shots a game. The books had to start taking it down. It was ridiculous. But I do like the pasta over on shots. As far as unders are concerned, so one thing I have found about the NHL, especially in the postseason, Andy, I think that depth players show up more on the road than they do at home. And people might think, well, you get the last change. Why would that be the case? And I think that because you get the last change on, or you get the first change on the road, they're shutting down your top guys. So when you play on the road, your top guys are getting shut down so much that you need your secondary guys to perform a little bit. So when I take a look at some of these guys, I might look towards under on Morgan Geeky props for the Boston Bruins. I might look at the under for even Brandon Carlo because he hasn't been doing very well there on the second line. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And same thing for the Florida Panthers. Now that they're on the road, maybe the secondary guys step up and the top guys like Reinhart and Verhaeghe, maybe they start to struggle a little bit. But we've got puck time coming up. We'll talk about more props there, but I'm with you on the pasta one. I do like Marchand to get a point, and Brandon Montour block shots. Watch out for that one.
We talk a little bit about the Oilers and the Canucks. Again, not a whole lot that I'm seeing here. I'm going to assume that Draisaitl's okay. Listen, they're hockey players. They're out there. If they can carry their leg out there, they're going to be out there. And I think I'm probably looking at Draisaitl over 2.5 shots on goal. The other interesting one I liked for Draisaitl is you can get even money on power play points. He's done it in 6 straight games. Anytime they're out there on the power play, it's got to be the scariest power play in the NHL over the last couple seasons. It just has to. It's just one of those where every time there's a penalty, you're like, pencil in a goal. So Draisaitl's been getting there. He has won, like I said, in every playoff game. So Draisaitl power play a point, maybe over his shots on goal. I will tell you, I would go right back to the Oilers over their team total. They got to be fuming. Absolutely fuming about what happened in game 1. I think they come out and score some goals. So whenever you get a lot of goals that you think the team total is going over, it's a really good look at taking some guys to go over points. What's your thoughts on this one?
I like a lot of what you just said. I do. I think that I'm happy you mentioned the power play points. I was going to say Zach Hyman. Last game, he was plus 160 for a power play point. Now he's down to plus 150. But the funny thing is, I was talking to a friend about this, Andy. As much as Zach Hyman had a career year, he's played so well. He's good out there on the power play. The thing is, you're better off taking Hyman to score a goal. If you look at all of his power play points, I would say 90% of them are just when he scores. Like, the guy does not pass the puck on the power play. He's out there to score. He's out there. Like, people rip on this guy because a lot of his goals are right by the net. So, they say, well, if he wasn't playing with McDavid, he wouldn't be so good because, his goals are 2 feet away. But it takes a certain type of player to be able to play with those talented players. Hyman at plus 150 tonight is still worth a look. But I'm telling you, most of the time that he does get that power play point, he's just scoring on the power play. So you might as well just be looking at that. I don't even know if we can say under the radar guy, but I would probably start looking towards Dakota Joshua props. I mean, he has been unbelievable for the Vancouver Canucks, coming up with some clutch goals, making plays, and I think his number is still reasonable for him to just get a point. So I would be looking at that. And then for the unders crowd, for the people that like betting unders, Attention unders bettors. Take the under on defensemen for the Vancouver Canucks. They've got enough to worry about with McDavid and Draisaitl and those guys. Andy, do you think these defensemen have time to jump into the rush? I don't think so. Quinn Hughes to not get a point. Quinn Hughes under 2.5. Roenick under 1.5 shots. I think a lot of these are good bets right now to make just based on the game plan, this Canucks team. Let's be honest here. You kind of mentioned it with the team total. If it's up to Vancouver, they'd like to win games 3-1, 3-2. The fact is they probably can't. They probably have to score 4 goals to win their games, but I think they have to be real careful, and their defensemen are going to stay back. So I know you like your unders, Andy, so I have to always try and throw an under in there.
I do love the unders. Do love them. Rangers and Carolina. Oh, what a brutal one for Carolina. Yikes! That may be a mountain too high to climb for them right now. I really have not found a whole lot to do in this series. The points are kind of tough. I mean, I'm kind of an under player, but I can't ignore the overs on Trocheck and Zibanejad and Kreider. I mean, they're doing all the damage in this series. I mean, if you would have just played these guys in this series, you'd have your season worth of profits. So I didn't think Carolina would be giving up that many goals. So I'm kind of glad I've not played unders in this series. Do you have any take on the Rangers and Carolina moving forward? May not be that long of a series.
One play only. Igor Shesterkin over on saves. If you've never bet a save prop in your life, please make this the first one. Make this the first one you ever bet. I mean, we're talking 50 plus shots on goal for the Hurricanes, back-to-back games, 43 in the game prior. They're getting goalied. This Hurricanes team is getting goalied, and the Rangers are scoring goals at the clutch times. I know for me, I lost a big play yesterday on Carolina, Andy, full transparency. I'll be looking at either just shot props in game 4, or I'll be looking at save props in game 4. I am not going back on Carolina money line. I will throw that out there because this team could have 65 shots on goal right now, and it seems like they would still lose 3-2 in overtime. So I am done with this Hurricanes team. It'll be props only for me in game 4.
Love it. Love it. Andrew, let's talk just a little bit of baseball. You said you had a play up in baseball. Let's talk about that, and then I'll go over some UFC real quick. What do you like in baseball?
Andy, we got an old friend on the mound today, and I think it's worth mentioning. I think we should celebrate. It's Friday. Everybody's going to be excited to hopefully make some money in the MLB. We're going to go under on strikeouts for our good friend Patrick Corbin, and you can get plus 110 on that one. His number is actually 4.5. He's gone under this in 4 of his last 5 games, and the even better thing is, he's coming off a good start to his standards. He still allowed 3 earned runs, 6 hits, and 3 strikeouts. But the media called it a good start for Patrick Corbin. So getting a plus 110 price here in this matchup. I think that, for him, even when he has a good outing, he's not getting a lot of strikeouts. He's become a ground ball guy. He is playing against the Boston Red Sox, a team that does strike out a fair bit. You got to rock with just fading this guy. And even when he's on his game, he's not striking out a ton of guys. And the best part is the managers have realized we gave this guy so much money. We have to keep him in the rotation. We have to throw him out there, but nobody said we have to keep him out there for 6 innings. And the best part about these strikeout props, the second he leaves the game, you're good. So we got to hope that Corbin leaves the game after about 3 2/3 and we cash this ticket, Andy.
I love it. I love it. Patrick Corbin Day. It's amazing. Some of these guys, it's amazing how few pitchers there are just out there in the world. Some of these guys that are just still in the major leagues, giving up 3-4 runs every game. Like, we can't find anybody better. Let's talk a couple of UFC plays. I will mention we do have a really, really big fade the baby theory, Andrew. Tisha, you've all known her as Tisha Torres. She's going by Tisha Pennington. She's married to Raquel Pennington. They just had a baby, and she carried the baby. She hasn't fought in 2 years. She hasn't won in 3 years. I just listened to an interview where she was like, yeah, it was really hard to get any type of flexibility, mobility, and cardio back. I'm like, okay, I'm out. So Tabitha Ricci over at minus 135 is a good one. Couple of props you can take in this one. I like the Charles Johnson, Jake Hadley fight over 2.5 as a parlay piece. It's minus 270. Hadley is going to want to grapple, except Johnson's really, really good on defense, but neither of these guys are finishers. I think this is kind of a wrestle, grapple, maybe some jabs on the feet, but I don't see too much. I don't see too much value in unders. Anything over. I like the Chase Hooper Borshev fight to not go the distance, or maybe under 2.5. Hooper's going to try and get it on the ground and work a submission. If he does get it on the ground, he will submit Borshev. If it stays on the feet, Borshev probably knocks him out. Either way, I think we see a finish in that one. And I like, so the Matej Rebecki, Diego Ferreira, under 2.5 is now minus 180. I still think it's a little bit in play. I think Rebecki gets the finish. You can take Rebecki inside the distance as well as a prop. He's all the way up to minus 500 on the money line. Diego Ferreira's older, just doesn't have the ground game. And Rebecki, man, he is a pit bull in there, man. He will absolutely not stop to try and get the takedown. He's just this short, stocky, unbelievably strong guy with no cardio issues. And I think he gets Ferreira down. I think he I think he either submits or he absolutely grounds and pounds him. So I would take Rebecki inside the distance as well. And then I got a sneaky over here for you, Andrew. I got Joaquin Buckley and Nursultan Ruzaboyev over 1.5 at minus 145.
Okay.
Like Ruzaboyev is so much taller than Buckley is. And I know Buckley just came off a really impressive win against Luque. Luque didn't really try the takedowns or wrestling, and I don't think Ruzaboyev is going to stand there and let Buckley tee off on him. I think Ruzaboyev closes the distance, tries and mucks it up, tries to get it, kind of dirty. And if he does get it on the ground, I don't think he submits Buckley. Buckley's too active and too strong early on. I think this one sinks a lot of people. I think people are going to take, Buckley inside the distance. I think this is a sneaky one to go over. So I like Buckley and Ruzaboyev over 1.5. It's only minus 145. So you can have a finish late and we still cash this one. So those are some UFC plays. So once again, guys, if you are watching and you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button. Really, really helps us out. Just takes a second. Just hit the like button, leave us a comment. Tell us what you agree or disagree with. Tell us what you like for this weekend. And don't forget, we've got a 5% best bet that goes off on Saturday. That is up right now in the NBA, 14-7 in the NBA playoffs. We're coming off of 2 straight nights where we swept the board. Very, very happy with that. And we got an unbelievable number that I'm really surprised that we're getting. So it makes it 5% worthy. So go ahead and check that out. Andy Lang at WagerTalk.com. Andrew, tell everyone what you have up, and then real quick, let's talk on just a little CFL.
5% play for me as well this weekend, Andy. This will be on Saturday in the NHL, and a great package right now, including the NHL, where you buy my CFL season package, where I've had 3 straight winning seasons, plus 40 units on 5% plays. We'll toss in the remainder of the NHL postseason at no added cost. So it's a great special there, guys. If you want some CFL action, you want the remainder of my NHL, get that package. Now, speaking of the CFL, the Toronto Argos, Andy, they'll be without their starting quarterback, man, for quite some time now. What is this? The CFL trying to copy the NFL with news like this? I shouldn't even make jokes about that, actually. But, just a player just out for like 7 games to start off the year. There was rumors that Nathan Rourke, the guy that got waived from the Patriots, was going to sign with the CFL team. Then the Giants picked him up. But the futures are out there. The team is out there. And I will say this right now, if anybody's lining up to the window, if you're looking to make any quick futures, I know you don't want to have your money tied up. Bet the Hamilton Tiger Cats right now to win the Grey Cup before things change, before the Argos get healthier, before they get their star quarterback back. and before they kind of get their act together. The first couple of weeks, I'm going to be fading them against the spread probably. The first couple of weeks is going to be so many distractions in that locker room. Hamilton, to me, they had a lot of changes last year in their roster, Andy. They're going to be much better this year, a lot healthier. Hamilton's a team worth looking at. But I can't wait for the CFL season. Win totals are starting to pop up. I'm thinking about making a win total bet to the over as far as the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I bet them under last year. The over, I like some moves they made this year in the off season. But will you be joining me again and betting the CFL this season?
Absolutely, guys. Listen, this is a gambling show. We talk about the CFL, yeah, because we're fans, but mostly because it's very profitable. Like, this is a great source of building your bankroll. You guys know me. I love parlays. I always say it's not that you parlay, it's what you parlay. And the CFL was a cash cow. The parlay pieces in the CFL are amazing. I don't know how many times I parlayed the Argonauts with Max Verstappen to win last year. Had to be like 5 or 6. I'm serious, man. Just that play alone, Argonauts money line. Now that was with Chad Kelly, so my heart broke knowing that we're not going to get 9 weeks of that. But there are so many great parlay pieces that you can match up with in the CFL. Andrew does a great job with the spreads and the totals. I do more with the parlay pieces. It is so bettable. It's a fun sport to watch, but more importantly, man, it is such a great source. And one of the reasons it's a great source of building a bankroll is because not a lot of people here in the States are betting on it. And so the books just are not paying that much attention to it. You can get some really soft lines. When news comes out, the lines don't adjust nearly as much as they do in other sports. Like, if you have a big breaking news story in the NBA, they've already adjusted the line like 2 hours ago. In the CFL, it's like, oh, this quarterback's out. Oh, I got 2 hours before they're going to move the line at all. So we will continue to sprinkle in CFL content. It's just the reason we talk about it is because it's a moneymaker. So we'll keep doing that. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us. Hit the like button. Leave us a comment. Don't forget to check out Andrew's 5% play at WagerTalk.com, my 5% NBA play at WagerTalk.com. Good luck on all your plays, and we'll see everyone next week on Prop It Up.